All right. Welcome to Arm Wrestling Showcase number, what is this? 48. Hello, anybody that is tuning in. So today might be a short show. Looks like, yeah, Tara Terry and Robert Terry were going to come on, but it sounds like they're sick. And yeah, I've just been busy with work. So kind of last minute, I threw the invite out to a few people. So we'll see if anybody pops in here. I know Josh will be in a little bit late if he can make it. So if it's just me, I'll do what I can. Might be a short show. We'll see. But I'll just go over some of the stuff that's going on right now locally and stuff. And maybe do a little bit of East versus West recap. So, the next thing I know that is going on locally, let me pull it up here. It's the final practice at the compound, Christian Zepeda's team. That is going to be this Saturday, 1 p.m., and it says until all night. So this Saturday, April 27th, and there's going to be super matches. There's going to be this is really cool. King of the Table. It's a $5 buy-in, King of the Table, and the winner takes all. So that'll be fun. King of the Table is always fun at practice. Let's see. In terms of like giving out the address, I think you're just gonna have to contact Christian Zepeda on that. Or you can message me. I know Christian Zepeda is going to drop on for a little bit. We're going to go live tomorrow, I believe around 6 o'clock. And he's going to personally talk about that final practice at the compound. Great team. I always love what they're doing over there. I try and get over there when I can. Um, but yeah, I guess it's the team is going to keep going. I believe they're just relocating where the practices will be. But yeah, it's a cool vibe where it's at. Anybody in SoCal or even NorCal that wants to come for a fun mega practice, it's going to be a good one. So you should definitely go check that out. And then, hello, Drew. What's up? Good to see you here. It's just the two of us. So yeah, anybody in the chat, what did you all think of East versus West? Any particular surprises? What did you think of that? One of our guests just messaged me now. Let's see. Oh, River Welch. Yeah, River Welch might get on here. He's at the store right now. But River Welch, last I checked, is the front runner for the vote on the California um, sponsorship. Sponsor a California arm wrestler to compete out of state. Right now, he's getting the most votes to be one of the top five, which will be included in a live ballot at North versus South to pick one winner from the North, one winner from the South, and shooting for $4,000 total on that to be split between them, $2,000 each. It's a big number, a big goal, but I think we can do it. We started pretty strong, got a solid amount of that, like right in the first few days. We're gonna start trying to do some more stuff on that to raise more money, but we got plenty of time. Who's that we got? What's up, Josh?
What's up? What's up, buddy? Sorry I'm late, man.
Yeah, no problem. You guys all done with what you were up to?
Yeah, my son had like a little thing at his school where they went to the mission, the San Luis Obispo, a couple weeks back, and so then they had like these art projects that they had to all build a mission and some other stuff. So yeah, we went over there to check out all their artwork and different stuff they're doing.
Sweet, sweet.
Yeah, kind of like an open house type thing or whatever.
Right on. Sounds
Yeah.
cool. Well, glad to have you in here. Looks like we got Crispin Woods in the house as well. Oh, let me
Yeah,
change this view here so we
I
can.
uh I was on a run,
There he is.
so now I'm walking, but you got stuck with a big hairy shirtless dude, so sorry.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, man. We wouldn't have it any other way, bro. All right, let me change the view here. There we go. Now it's a party. All right. Yeah, I appreciate you guys dropping in. This is my first time jumping on alone. I felt like Derek Smith or something. I don't know how these people do it. Yeah, just great personalities or something. I'm like, welcome.
Do you have a topic of conversation for today, or
I know
Yeah,
we're doing
well,
a recap, right?
yeah, first I was just kind of like catching up on the things that are going on, but I would like to do a little East versus West recap. Did you guys both see it?
yes?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All right, so let's see. The Drew was asking, did something happen this weekend? So like did something so last weekend. Anything happen last week in arm wrestling? There was something that happened, wasn't there? Up
East
north.
versus
They had
West.
there was the Evo Expo up in Santa Clara, and they did a tournament there. I know that.
Now, did I see a picture of Matt Silva taking first place?
No, no, I think Matt was just taking a picture. Because in the comments, Casey asked him the same thing, and Matt said no, he didn't get first.
Okay, thanks for straightening that out. I was like, wow, because yeah, the way it looked like Ilya was in that photo, right? And that he took second
Right.
to Matt. I was like, oh, well, this changes things. And we got Todd
Yeah, I think
Colazzo in
if
the
that
house.
was to happen, it would have been.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just waiting to hear something like that because I know Matt doesn't compete much. I think he's starting to, but you know, he's one of those guys that's just kind of like been in the lab training all hard, and you always wonder what's going to happen once they're like super active. Gabriel Young is in the house as well. What's up, Gabriel? Good to see you. He says, "How's the Cali scene down there?" It's vibrant, man. You gotta come back in town, Gabriel. It's growing and exponentially with the lightweights for some reason. One of the reasons we're trying to birth the featherweight class in California, a 145. So we're holding a massive round robin at North First South for 145 class, see if we can establish a state ranking and see if other tournaments and everything out here want to follow suit because yeah, we just a lot of people. My teammate Javier Martinez is in the house. What's up, Javier? I know you did a East versus West watch party, so maybe you can weigh in on this. Todd says Gabriel Young is the man. Elijah loves the videos you and Auden post. Keep them coming. Heck yeah, really good videos. I love watching those as well. So okay, East versus West. What stood out to you guys?
Uh, dude, how man, Aracely was dominant. I did not expect. I had a feeling he was gonna win, but not like that.
Yeah,
That was unreal. Like Sasha had nothing for him, man. I did not see that coming. I thought if he got into the straps, if he went into the hook, he might be able to stop him, have something, but dude,
right.
that was he just dominated that one.
Yeah,
I have to
That was
agree.
probably
That's probably one of the most surprising things that happened. Was Sasha getting completely shut down. Yeah, that definitely was. Rackley was on his game.
right. And I was wondering if it was just like a Styles thing, you know, if Irakli's type of top roll was just right, you know, for Sasha.
well, he's also cutting a lot of weight,
Yeah,
you know, and being dominant in a higher weight class and then dropping down to that one. I mean, it makes sense. You
right.
know, like I would expect him to win that because of how much weight he's cutting. You
Yeah,
know, but again, I just didn't see. I mean, Sasha's put the brakes on and stopped guys that have cut weight before. You know,
right. Right.
just didn't see that like it just being that dominant.
definitely. Yep.
Yeah, it
And
seemed like Irakli didn't only not only did he have his move, which is, the nemesis of what Sasho does, right?
right.
But he also, it seemed like he had the inside taken care of as well. He was strong enough once it did have a little bit of a stop.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I
Yeah.
thought the straps might have made a difference on that, but they really didn't.
Right. Right. Yeah. And would you say Irakli is the type of like top roller that really capitalizes on that bottom strap? It looks like he is, like to me.
Oh yeah. I
Right.
mean,
Which
I
is
feel like
really
you
good
have
if
to.
you're against a power puller,
Yeah, I really feel like, especially if you're going to top roll and kind of dominate in that fashion, you have to have solid control of that top strap and really have your back pressure and more of your rise, kind of locked in. And I feel like that's really what negates that low that low hook that Sasho has, because if you're both pulling on that bottom strap, the guy with the hook is gonna win that one because everything's going low for him anyways, right? So he's gonna have a much better position to drag. But by negating his hand by taking it, like over the top there, then that low drag just gets opened up,
right?
And I think that was really what made Irakli so dominant on that, is that he not only dominated that top strap, but then he had the drag and that low strap pressure to back it up.
Absolutely. Yep. And I can't wait to get to the uh Devin and Levon match, but let me pull up the list here. Yeah, I mean
Bro,
there's
I've never been right and wrong about a match before until that one. And we'll talk about it when we come to it, but
yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to be wrong on that. I really wanted to. I mean, I think everyone wanted Devin to win.
Yeah.
You know, like I think the people that bet on Devin, like I feel like we all knew that Levon is the Mount Everest,
Mm-hmm.
and more people that climb Mount Everest fail climbing Mount Everest than succeed. But we
Yeah.
all wanted to see him, make it to the top, like Devin make it to the top of Everest. It's just more often than not, most people don't.
Right.
You know,
Absolutely. And I think that's what it is, whether you're a Devon fan or not, you know, most all of us, I feel like we root a little bit for the underdog. And if you're competitive in this sport, you also kind of want to see movement, you know.
yeah,
You want to see those rankings at the top move a little bit. And I feel like seeing somebody at Devon's weight beat Levon, it tells us a lot, and I think it gives us a lot more hope in this sport because I keep hearing this thing around the bend where like, oh, to be the best in the world or to be at that level, you got to be like, like the Hulk. You got to be like this, totally gnarly human being, 400 pounds or whatever. Um, and I think we all want to see that tactician dismantle that, or that it is possible, and see movement.
yeah. No, I agree with you. And that's like you're saying, that's usually the argument. Oh, the bigger guy is just always going to win.
Mhm.
When you've got 200 pounds on the other dude, or in their case, like 140, 150 pounds. I mean, you just go, yeah, that guy's going to win. The
Right.
one that's got the weight. But then, Devin's done such an amazing job of just, out techniquing, dismantling people that he was totally the underdog against.
Yeah.
Even when Saplenkov came back, people were like, yeah, but it's Saplenkov. Like the guy's a beast, just dismantled him. Hermes was the first person to put the brakes on Levon, and he had nothing for Devin,
Hmm.
and I think it's those sorts of things that we go, all right, maybe he does, stand a
Yeah.
chance. But, at the end of the day, what do you do against a 400-pound gorilla?
Right. It looks good for the sport, and there's nothing. This isn't like especially after that match, I'm like a huge Levon fan. There was things that I took from that match that I was like, it just blew my mind, and we'll just stay on this because we're like into it, right?
Yep.
But it looks good for the sport to, for to see someone like Devin win against someone like Levon, in that it, for those people that are new to the sport or don't really follow it, the natural assumption is the stronger person that lifts more weights or is just, more massive is always going to win. And I think the reason most people get addicted to this sport is coming in and realizing the technique involved in all the different aspects of it. But again, man, like, I was happy to see Levon win that match when it was all said and done. What were you guys thinking when that match stopped? Round
See,
number one,
that
right
was where I
off.
was right. That was where I was right. I literally made $100 bet that he would stop him center of the table round one.
Okay.
But I also thought he would win the match after that. I think that Devin, once it stopped, I mean, it was incredible. He had the setup. I mean, he had everything he wanted. He had his height. He had everything. And I think that Devin expended more energy in that round than he has in a whole fight, like throughout his career. I
Right.
think that if you watch Travis's podcast the next day, he had such a good breakdown of it. And he was like equating it to a guy who bench presses 420 pounds, and that's his max. One day he decides to lift 450, and he does it, but he has no idea what 450 does to his body. He knows what 420 does, but he's never lifted 450 before. I think it was that type of situation. Devin stopped him, and he used every single thing that he had to stop him and to hold him. I mean, he was literally shaking, right? And then he tried to move sideways, and it wasn't moving,
Yep.
See, I have a little bit different opinion on that one. In all honesty, just because of how much Levon dominated after that, I
Right.
feel like Levon knew he had this, like, from the second they gripped up, from everything else. I feel like Levon knew he had it in the bag. And that first round, he wanted to feel Devin out. He wanted to give him a shot and go, can you move me past center? You
Yeah.
know? And I think he gave him a little bit too much rope, which is why he had to resort to the press.
Yep.
At the end of the day, because I mean, you can't slouch on Devin. You can't do that and just be like, I'm just going to stonewall you center of the table.
Right.
And so I think that's why after that first kind of round, you didn't see that. I think he just went, okay, I can't toy with him like I thought, or okay, if I give him something, what's he going to do with it? What does he really have?
Right.
And I think Levon, kind of realized, I kind of have to do my thing, otherwise Devin has a chance. He's got something, and that's why he took everything after that. He gave literally nothing up, and was utterly dominant. So my opinion is that Levon, that first round, said, okay, let's see what you got. Go for it. I'm just going to kind of hold you in the center and see what you can do with it.
Right. I think what both of you said, it has truth to it, probably. I mean, in terms of what you said, Josh, I can't really, we can't really know, if Devin was like maxed out after that. But I, you can pretty much figure it probably had a bit to do with it. And I agree with some of the things you're
I've
saying as
never
well.
seen Devin after the first round, and except for his injury, to where he leaned over the table and hunched over. Like like he literally,
Was tired.
in
Yeah.
between walking, took a stumble step.
Yeah.
Like you could tell that it took something out of him, man.
There's,
Just my opinion, but
there's one
yeah.
nuance I saw that I want to add to that. But first, Mr. Travis Provencher, what's up? How's it going?
What's going on, guys? How you guys doing?
Pretty good,
What
man.
up?
Good to see you back in the house. So
Yeah, yeah,
you saw East First West, right?
yeah.
All right. Okay.
So I mean, when it comes down to Devin, I mean, there there is a big problem, right? Like when you want to face a behemoth like Levon, right? When you're trying to put on this weight, like I literally like watch Devin's videos all the time. The dude was eating nonstop.
Yeah.
So to eat the type of like to eat the amount of meat that he was eating, of course, I mean, after that first round, I just feel like he was gassed. I just feel like he didn't have any endurance. So obviously it's Devin. Obviously, we know he arm wrestles all the time. But like the dude's eating nonstop. He's trying to, get bigger to face this behemoth in Levon. And let's be real, I don't think as long as Levon's healthy, I don't think there's going to be a person to ever come up and even touch Levon. Even Brian Shaw. You can train Brian Shaw, but Levon's been training that wrist and arm wrestling related specific work, whatever the case is, right? Nobody's going to touch Levon as long as Levon's healthy. I just don't think it's going to happen.
Right.
Um,
I agree.
Levon's gifted, and he's probably going to go down as the greatest arm wrestler that's ever walked the planet. Obviously, John Brzezinski, of course, right? But in this era, there's nobody that's going to touch Levon. So at the end of the day, I mean, Devin's going to probably stay in that realm until he starts beating up on people, and then he might get that urge again. And who knows? Who knows what Devin wants to do? But I can tell you this: that this is one thing that I probably do know. I was watching Devin's video the other day, and he's like, there's a lot of other things I want to do. And at the end of the day, like Devin's making money right now. Devin's probably making more money than he's ever made in his life. So, um, he's really opening a lot of opportunities. The dude's getting a ton of followers on social media. He's getting a lot of traction in areas that he's probably even never fathomed before. So like we don't know what Devin's going to do next. Yeah, he's going to arm wrestle, but I don't know. At the end of the day, um, Devin's blessed this sport, and he's definitely, helped everybody get into this sport, of course, right? And
Yep.
and now, I mean, we're looking at it like, okay, well, what's the next chapter for you? And watching his video, he kind of just seemed uncertain in that video. I don't know if you guys watched it or not. It was like a 12-minute, 18-minute video that he posted yesterday. He was just on his couch, just like talking about like the match and everything. And yeah, anyways,
Like he didn't even
but
know what to think of it.
yeah,
Well,
he just didn't even know where he wants to go after this. Like, I don't know.
someone had asked me that they're just more of like a casual. They don't really arm wrestle. They just watch, and they had said, "Well, now what? Like now what for Devin? Now what for Levon? Like where does it go from here?" And I thought that was a really good question because I was like, I honestly don't know. Like, do you just have a rematch between Hermes and Levon? Does Devin just stay number two? Levon stays number one, and the rankings is just everyone below those two positions. Like, what happens to that? Who else can really challenge Levon at this point?
Right.
And then like you're saying, and then what's Devin gonna do? Like he's beaten everyone else for the most part, below him. So what for Devin now?
Yeah, the chase moves on. And I mean, I think um fundamentally the person that we're gonna expect to do it will both be a tactician and someone with the size, natural size and frame and power to back it up. A lot of people I hear throwing Kurdetch's name around. I hope one day Derek brings it home. But just in terms of size and technical prowess. But for me, what that match showed me, it really solidified the fact that there is a lane with someone like Levon. Um, and I don't know how if he was so much as giving Devin rope, um, as him just trying to go straight through him. Usually when we see Levon dominate a match, every time I see him arm wrestle, he's got normal coverage, decent with his big old mitt on the hand. His bottom finger practically goes down to their wrist, even when he's top rolling high, but you know, he usually has that. And I feel like that he was kind of going for that offensive, you know, you could say high hook or top roll, where he just kind of goes straight through the hand and dominates a person. And I feel like that's what he did. And that Devin, you know, what's Devin's specialty? What is he like, you know, it seems like 99% focused on is rise and pronation. Like that's his whole game. And, you know, he went straight to that move. And, you know, I saw those bottom fingers basically get peeled back just enough to prevent a cup and hold him. And that's where that sticking spot was. And so basically Levon going right into the place that Devin specializes in, and it didn't work. And he had to force into the flop wrist press. And I think it's really interesting that Josh, you know, he brought up Travis's show, Travis Bajent's show. I watched that as well, and Travis's take on it. And I was waiting for Travis to say something, but he didn't. So I might be alone in this, but I felt like every other round, Levon basically did Travis Bajent's move. That was the adjustment I saw every round. They ended up in the straps. I didn't see Levon going after coverage in the setup. I saw him making a strong fist, and I didn't see him, you know, really focusing on trying to get this in containment on Levon. I saw him just up like this with his fingers about here from the start and just cranking back on that strap and overpowering him every round. And I don't know, for me, I was just really, really impressed by it. And what it told me was that, you know, even if there's somebody strong enough and smart enough to find a lane to stop Levon, he's proven to us both with Devin and Hermes in weird moments like their matches that, dude, Levon's a smart arm wrestler. He's a good arm wrestler. And that always has to be taken into account. I think a good majority of us thought if that match stops between him and Devin, it's over, you know, but it wasn't the case. I mean, it stopped round one, and then he adjusted a little bit and dominated every other round. I might
I
be
totally,
crazy, but I don't know. That's what
no,
I see.
I agree with you on that one. And I think, especially in that first round, it didn't look like he wasn't fighting for the setup. He wasn't fighting for anything. You know, like you said, he was kind of going a little bit lower. And it looked like he was just going more defensive, in my
Right.
opinion. And like I said, just wanted to kind of see where Devin was at. And then after that, he took everything up top. And I think he realized that Devin's got enough rise and back pressure, you know, that if he neutralized that and he countered it, like you're saying, by going high, keeping that fist high,
Mm-hmm.
Devin had nowhere else to go, you know.
Yeah.
Um, and it was smart arm wrestling, like straight
Right.
up. It was good smart arm wrestling, you know. And he's not just this 400-pound gorilla that no one can beat. He's technical on top of it, you know. He knows his stuff. I mean, if that was the case, then Corey West would be number one or number two, you
Right.
know.
Right.
But someone like Todd Hutchings comes out of nowhere and beats him, you know. So, you know, I think those are things that a lot of people don't really, like you're saying, take into account. And they just go, oh, well, he's the biggest and the strongest, so that's obviously why he's winning. No, it's not. It's because he is technical at the same time, and he knows how to train properly for the sport.
all,
Absolutely.
all these Georgians know how to train for this sport. All these guys, like they're different. They're on another level.
Mm.
Mendy's right. Mendy's gym, I believe that's right.
I think they're mostly the Armenian, right?
Armenian.
Yep.
I think there's a couple. Is there not a couple Georgians in there?
I
I
think
don't
they're
know.
mainly Armenian, dude.
Okay. Anyways, I mean, the whole Georgian community, like in arm wrestling, is just insane. Like, and then I was actually talking to somebody the other day about just the Georgia, like the Georgia country, like in itself or whatever, right? Like, it's unreal. They have what, like, I think I looked it up. They have like 3 million people in the country, or whatever it is, right? State, country, whatever. At the end of the day, it's unreal because the majority of the best arm wrestlers are Armenian or Georgian. And then now in MMA, there's like two top Georgian MMA people. I'm like, there's only like 3 million people over there. So for there to be like this many elite athletes, like, and that's just what I know of. Like there's probably like 10 that I know of. And I'm just like, that's pretty unreal. And there's only 3 million people over there. Like that's crazy to me. So I'm
So
like, if they
I was gonna say, so along those lines,
Mhm.
dude, kind of somewhat changing topics, but still on the same lines. Man, the Kazakh guys, Kazakhstan, dude, those guys know how to train. They always have dudes, you know, like
yeah.
it's just, and going to what was it, Muratov or whatever, that left-handed
Mhm.
match. Oh
Mhm.
man, that was another one that I did not expect him to be that dominant and just like flash, like bluff, you know, like those Kazakh guys
Performance.
are ridiculous,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. You can't sleep on any one of them.
Mm-mm. Yeah.
Hey, when my
Why are they
son
all fast? Why are they all so fast? Even the big ones. Why are they so fast?
Yeah,
because
yeah. And their
because
technique is impeccable, like
Yeah.
absolutely impeccable. Like I mean, they all kind of do the same thing for the most part, except for Angarbayev, who does that low hand top roll. The rest of them do kind of like that inside rolling, yeah, the shoulder roll, you know, which is a mix of a hook and a press.
Hmm.
is that
And but their
is
technique is flawless.
the guy that faced Dallas, he had like that shoulder roll. I'm like, that shit was ridiculous. I was
I think
like,
he's Ukrainian.
yeah, see, I don't know their ethnicities, man. I just
He's
know they're
from
crazy.
European.
I just know they're not from the US.
Yeah, he's Ukrainian. He might be Russian. I mean, I know
I saw that
the
match though.
Stardust, but they're
Yeah.
Unre
you
It was
know,
Unreal. That shoulder roll was insane. And he's like, and I believe when they were doing the interview, they're like, oh, well, why? Like, what do you think about this and this? He's like, oh, I was just like trying to see like where I could beat him. Like, I'm just like casually just like saying like I could have beat him in pretty much any lane, but like I had to see where I was most dominant. Like, I'm like, that's what his interview sounded like. I'm like,
yeah.
that's crazy to know that like that they're on like just that type of level. And Dallas, I look at Dallas, I'm like, Dallas is the best in the state or whatever, but it's like these
he's
dudes
top
are the
five in
best.
the country.
Yeah, but these dudes are the best in the country. Like,
Yeah.
and for them to be here in like California, I think that guy's in California now because he's
He's
training.
Yeah, he moved to California. He trains up in LA now, and I was there for that match. And so I was talking to Dallas in between, and I was like, "Well, can you do this? Can you do that? You know, like what about this?" And he's like, "Dude, this guy's like the second he felt where Dallas was going, he's like he stopped me from getting back there. Like he couldn't even slip. Like the guy was just that technical.
Hmm.
You know? I mean, it was just absolutely unbelievable."
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. I love when people come out of the woodwork too, that not many have heard of, that are just badasses like that.
I
And that's
looked him up on social media, and he wins competition. Like I didn't. I think he won one or whatever, but he mainly comes in like second or third. But he's winning thousands of dollars at these competitions, and it's like I don't know where he's going to compete. Obviously, different countries, but it's like I don't know if like these people are sponsored or what, but it's crazy.
He competed at AMC, um, like the Russian one, and he beat Zauer, which is like unheard of. I mean, he took out guys that were way heavier, way bigger than him, and it was just you know Dallas knew he was going to have his hands full when he went up against him. But I mean, like you're saying, these guys just know how to train. They've been doing it a long time, and they're just on another level.
right. Absolutely.
Like
And back to the Georgians, the Drew makes a good comment. He says, "How good is basketball, NFL, and baseball in Georgia?" Well, I don't really know, but I'm guessing not so good because we haven't heard of it. But yeah, I don't know. It is a good point though.
yeah, they don't have our talent like that. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right. Those sports are our pastimes too. They're huge, and we have everything behind those. The arm wrestling thing is
yeah,
totally.
like the Dominican Republic, that's baseball, obviously. Like I mean, Dominican, that's all they do is play baseball in the Dominican Republic, and we get a lot of people from Puerto Rico as well. But it's like other countries just they don't go to school like we do. So it's like if we didn't go to school, like we would just be great at everything, like physically, which we are good, like great at like track and basketball, football, all that. But like when it comes to arm wrestling, like I don't really feel like we've picked up arm wrestling and it hasn't taken off here in the US like it has in other countries. It's been in other countries since before time, I feel. And like they just like stick to it. And out here it's like a fad. It comes and goes in ways. But now I feel like with the people that we have in the sport, obviously Devin and social media and ET and Schoolboy, these guys have really heightened the sport because of the social media aspect.
Right. Right.
So without the social media aspect, I wouldn't be arm wrestling. You
In the first
probably
place.
wouldn't. You
Right.
know what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
there's thousands of people that are now arm wrestling because they've seen, you know, a Whisperer, they've seen a Devin Larrett, a Schoolboy. What the hell's a Schoolboy? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and they see these YouTube videos that have millions and millions of views. And now we get people really intrigued and interested in this sport. And it's like arm wrestling's a sport. Any person I talk to about arm wrestling that I bring it up, they're like, arm wrestling's a sport. Arm wrestling, you could actually do that. And I'm like, yeah, I just figured it out about a year and a few months ago. Like I didn't know either. And now social media is just taking it by storm, which is great. You know, we need that here in the United States because like it needs to be implemented in like schools and stuff like that. You know, if chess and checkers can be a sport, so can arm wrestling in schools, you know? So
Right. Right. The demand's going up, so the organization will certainly improve soon too. Yeah, we were talking about Kazakhstan before. That aspect is one of the things that stands out for me for them. I'm pretty sure it's their country that I've seen like a bunch of video clips of, yeah, kids in schools like going through drills and stuff for arm wrestling. It's wild. And everything that we're doing, I guess now with social media here in the States, it's important. It's planting those seeds, and it's getting big enough to where it seems like a normal, sport to start getting behind and organizing. So I think it'll happen. The Drew says, my point matters. How many top athletes would be arm wrestling if our top pro sports didn't pay so well and focused on in school, etc.? Right. Yeah, I think, yeah. So what you're referring to is most of our focus here in the States is the sports like football and baseball and basketball, and it's transitional from high school, kids hoping to get picked up and go pro, or go to the best college and get a scholarship. Um, so yeah, those are the sports that um yeah, historically American kids want to get behind. And those are the sports I did. I grew up playing basketball, football and baseball and track. I think all the ones we just mentioned. And I barely found out about arm wrestling 4.5, 5, I don't know. Yeah, a few years ago. I think it was Schoolboys videos was the first thing that I saw. But yeah, I mean, all arm wrestling was just like some fun thing to do with your friends or on lunch tables or in a bar, like by some fluke accident. But yeah, we were all a little toasty at a birthday party at our house we were having, and yeah, there was just this large human, and I don't know why, like Malia asked me to arm wrestle him, and because of the outcome, she was like, "What? Why did you beat that guy? Like that was, he's much bigger than you." I said, "I don't know." And she's like, "Have you ever arm wrestled?" I'm like, "I guess, like, like here and there." And that's when I YouTubed it. I was like, "Huh, what's with arm wrestling these days?" And then here's this guy. It was like the same Schoolboy, just like, even though he's massive, they made him look all small. behind the table, and he would arm wrestle all these big people, like I think it was the Times Square videos I saw first. And yeah, it was intriguing to me. But yeah, like now it's different because there's all kinds of people that don't arm wrestle, don't like get into it in any organizational type of way, that know who all these people are. They know who the Whisperers, they know who Devin is, and Alan Fisher and stuff like that.
Speaking of Schoolboy, how was that match?
Oh
Man,
yeah, back to
I
East for West.
not that was another one I didn't really see coming. I honestly thought Schoolboy was going to dominate that one, and Leonidas pulled it off, man. That was impressive, I gotta say.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think happened in that match technically, Crispin?
Um, I think a lot of those guys, like Leonidas, those big bodybuilder dudes, they all have really strong bench press. They all have really strong biceps and curls. And I think when you get stuck in their hook, you are in trouble.
Yeah.
And that was, I think, what happened was he found his lane. He figured out how to keep Schoolboy out of his own lane, and he was able to capitalize on that.
Right.
And so I think it was actually some really good technical arm wrestling from Leonidas, not just brute strength. And I think a lot of these guys, when they first start out, that's how it is. These power lifters, and they get into it and they're strong, and so they're beating dudes, and then they come across that technical guy that just destroys them. But then all of a sudden they start to get a little technique, and you go, oh man, they're a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wheels is like that. I think Leroy is gonna be like that. Like some of these guys that just naturally are very, very strong, but Leonidas clearly has some good training partners and people that are helping him become a more technical arm wrestler. And I think he really accessed and utilized that, and he got the W because of it.
He
Yeah.
he
Yeah.
Leonidas has he's a good arm wrestler. Like, I mean, there's all these bodybuilders, they don't know how to arm wrestle. Leonidas knows how to arm wrestle, and when I knew that, it's when he beat Larry just convincingly when they face each other.
Right.
So like, yeah, when I seen that, obviously we know how strong Larry is. Larry competes with Derek. Obviously Derek could, beat Larry because he has more technicality. Um, but that being said, like, Leonidas, what's next? What's next for Leonidas? Does he face like a Derek Smith? Does Larry Wills face Schoolboy or something like that? You know what I mean? Like, obviously that would get a ton of views because they both have big followings. Those are the matches you want to see. You want to see these guys that have a massive following face each other because that's just what it is. Like, I mean,
Who I would like to see go up against Schoolboy is Rickard Bourneman from Australia, the new heavyweight champ down
yeah,
down in Australia, man.
yeah.
He's only been at it a year, and he is destroying people. Like,
What's his
just
name?
Rickard Bourneman.
Rickard Bourneman. Okay.
Yeah. He's a rugby player, and when he first started, he's only been arm wrestling a year. And in the last AWE, he beat everyone. And left-handed, he gets destroyed by Lachlan. But if he gets his position, he can beat Lachlan. And that's saying a lot. Like a dude who's only been doing it a year and is already pretty much the number one guy in Australia. Like after just 1 year. And apparently he's got some crazy wrists. He's got stupid strength. He's a big dude. And I would like to see him go up against Schoolboy. He definitely needs more technique. He would need someone super knowledgeable in his corner. And I think, like Ryan Bowen is one of those really good people to work technique with him, and corner him. But yeah, the dude's got some strength, and he's going to be one of those up and comers
that people need to watch out for. So I would love to see him. And, you know, I think East versus West is really more for the top 10 guys in the world.
Right.
You
Right.
know, like, but King of the Table or Arm Wars,
That's what
man,
was.
that would be a
fan
fun to see
favorite.
and just see where he stands. You know, like, all right, if we throw you in there, where are you at? But I would put him, obviously not technically, but I would put him on the level of Schoolboy as far as just like sheer strength goes. So
Right.
I would like that match.
Okay. Yeah. There's some stuff I want to say about that, but first we need to welcome Daddy into the house.
What are we talking about here, guys?
What's up, Matt Silva?
What's going on, man?
We're doing a little bit of recap on East versus West, which, you know, has led us down many rabbit holes. But we were currently leaving off on Leonidas versus Schoolboy. What are your thoughts on?
I didn't watch any of it yet.
Oh, well, you're going to get a bunch of spoilers if you're going to be talking with us right now.
Oh, I don't care.
Well, I mean, I think it's super good for the sport to see, you know, somebody like arm wrestling, like Leonidas with strength sport background, right? Actually beat Schoolboy, and actually Andre has a good comment here. It says Leonidas has been arm wrestling for 5 years. I don't think he should be considered new. And but yeah, even so, like guys like Larry, I think he's been training for somewheres around 4 or so years now, seriously in the sport. I know Brandon Allen's been taking it pretty serious. I don't see, I'll be honest, I don't see that enough from guys that transition in from strength sports, from powerlifting, bodybuilding and things like that. Because I think the assumption is to come into their first practice and beat everybody. But there's just so much more to the sport. It ends up humbling. There's an ego issue, and they're gone. Maybe they might last like 3 months, at least the majority I've seen since I've been going to practices and competing and stuff. But those few that do stick it out and end up having good form. I saw Leonidas compete. I competed at the same event with him last year, Mr. Olympia in Vegas. I was impressed by the dude. He was all like shirtless the whole thing, you know, doing your he's like the bodybuilder in the room. But when he went up and arm wrestled, like he was technically proficient. And I feel like that population is important for our sport. You know, the people.
I think these guys come to our sport when there's nothing left.
Yeah.
when they've exhausted everything, you know, they're bored. There's really nowhere else for them to go.
Injuries.
And, yeah, then they come to us, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah,
it's just reality.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I mean, the thing is, I mean, Leonidas is already the best in his country in his physique or lifting, or he's already got the heaviest lifts or whatever. So, like you said, he's bored. He's bored and he wants a new challenge. So now he's arm wrestling and now he's winning and he's like, now he's seeing how far he can go. When you taste greatness and you start getting these wins and you know you're the best, it's like, how far can this take me? Obviously, he's not, you know, one of the top people in the world at this point, but with how big he is and how strong he is, his mindset is he can be. So, I mean, if he continuously trains like the Georgians or the Kazakhstan people, then he can get to that level because he's already tapping into that ability. These heavy lifters, they already have a press because they can bench a house. So they just have to get into that speed. If Leonidas could get into the speed of a Georgian or a Kazakh guy, he's unstoppable. If he could do that shoulder roll, he would be unstoppable. You can't stop that much power from a guy like that. It's just impossible. It's like a boulder running into a house, man. It's crazy. So
Right.
yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we'll see how serious Leonidas takes it. Maybe he'll be the guy that's gonna try to challenge a Levon. I mean, you don't have to be a 400-pound guy to challenge Levon. You just have to be close to his strength. You have to know technicalities, and you have to be fast, really fast. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, what Devin said is like, we want to see. It's not that we want to see Levon lose. It's just we want to see a guy that's gonna really give him a run for his money. And we were hoping Devin was that guy, but after the round one, I mean, it kind of went downhill. So
Right.
yeah,
Yes. And we saw Yorgi, the one who supposedly can never be top rolled, get top rolled by Alex Kurdecha pretty much every round, right?
He had a broken leg though, dude.
Oh, did
I
he?
I don't count that one. He broke his leg earlier in the week and still showed up and arm wrestled. Like
Wow.
everyone's saying he should have called out the match, but that just gives I got to give him credit for following through,
Right.
like regardless. But dude had a broken leg, literally a broken leg.
Right.
Like so, I hate to take anything away from Kurdecha, like not taking anything away from him, but when you're going up against a dude who's not 100%, I mean, yeah, it's upper body, but your legs do play a role in that. When you can't post on the table, when you can't really put your weight onto one of them, like you can't push off with it, it'll make a difference. So
Right.
I look at that match as a wash. Like it's not taking anything away from either guy, but I wouldn't count that win for Kurdecha. I mean, Yorgi still showed up. He still pulled. Yeah, you lost. It's on you. But put him at 100%. I mean, at least not with a broken leg. Come on.
Right.
Like then see how that match goes.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I had no idea that he had a broken leg. That's pretty wild. Um, Andre says Larry said he was at his strongest training for strongman and lost to a girl. He said, "What's the point of all this strength if I can't beat a girl?" Aw. Well, I don't
was it a transgender girl?
know. Maybe.
Maybe it was Gabby.
Yeah, and
Because
I would glad
Gabby's
if I
come to
was
visit
Gabby.
LA. Like she's one of those women that's insanely strong and beats a lot of dudes.
Yeah. Yep. Jeff Ray is in the house. Says, sorry guys, wanted to hop on, but had a family emergency. Son cut his finger pretty bad. Oh man, I hope your son gets all patched up and everything goes smooth for you over there. We also got Alwyn in the house. What's up, Alwyn? Saying wishing the best for your son, Jeff. So yeah, I don't know, man. Matt, what else can we talk about with you here? You were at the Evo. What was the name of the festival again?
Yeah, it was the Sports Expo
Sports Expo. Okay.
in Santa Clara.
Right.
Good turnout.
So, yeah, it was they had beginning class, amateur, and pro. And the beginning and amateur class were stacked.
Mm.
Yeah, it's cool to see. I mean, there's so many a lot of people. I don't even know who these people are.
Yeah.
Just showing up. So, it's cool to see them, and they get to see us and stuff, and because they're always they see us on YouTube or Instagram or Facebook and all that, and then they finally get to see some of these people in person. So
Right.
yeah, it's fun. It's the next generation. These people just starting. Maybe they've only been in it for like 6 months or like a year, and it's just cool to kind of see these people come in, and then you pull with them and they're strong, and you're like, oh. So, it just kind of shows that arm wrestling and arm wrestling training is becoming more accessible.
Right.
And what would take a year or two to obtain, people are now getting in like 6 months. So it's awesome. And that's always kind of been my goal, just coming into the sport, is to make it more accessible and and take away the mystery and all that. So I feel like, not that I have any responsibility for that, but I feel like that's starting to happen, you know?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
it's awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's like all we should focus on at this point. Unless you're at the tippy top, competition wise. Yeah, even like rankings, like there's an important place for them right now to kind of like have some sort of a foundation. It also keeps things kind of moving forward. But like you mentioned, all these new people that are coming out of the woodwork, and you're like, damn, like
A
you're
lot.
like you can change things. When the larger part of the population that will inevitably be a part of this sport we haven't seen yet, it changes. It does change a lot, and we need to get them in. And as it organizes more in the States here, um, I don't know, just like I think so many cool big things are going to happen that I guess my only point is we need not look at the shape of the sport as it is like right now, or take that too seriously, because I feel like it's in a trailblazing kind of place right now. And I think the only inclination to think that this is what the sport is because it has kind of been somewhat of the same uh way for a long time. But it definitely seems to be going through a lot of changes right now,
Yeah.
especially in terms of just exposure and accessibility to the rest of the world.
Yeah, and I think that's what we need to focus on, like accessibility and exposure. And I feel, you hear, you're in a group chat or you hear something, and why is this practice close to this tournament, and no, this tournament's on the same day, and what a great problem to have.
Yeah, that's a
You know what
wonderful.
I mean? Like,
Yeah.
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, basically.
Like, what are you bitching about? Like, that's what a great problem to have.
Yeah.
We're like, man, there's something every weekend. What the hell?
Yeah. Yeah, that's like if in my business I have like too many clients calling me and I'm like gonna bitch about it. Like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
and I
that's a
understand.
great problem to have.
If you're a promoter, it's a business. That's your business.
Right.
And I was reading some stuff. Denise posted some stuff and all that. And the bottom line is it's a business for these promoters. And I get that. And if you're going into promoting, like, you're going to get sucked into that. You're going
Yeah.
to get sucked into those little dramas and things. Because I mean that's their livelihood. I'm assuming. That's where they make their money. And they're
Right.
all good people, Leonard and Denise and Bill, and even Jody Smith is coming up, and he's been doing his tournaments and stuff up here. He ran the Santa Clara one, and I know Josh is trying to get into it. He has his North versus South and all that, and it's inevitable that stuff's going to happen. Like, well, why is this happening on this and that? But you just have to stay positive,
Right. Right.
and just
Yeah.
think yes, it's a problem, but it's a good problem.
Right.
You
Yeah,
know?
all of those promoters are such key important founders of this sport, and they have found a way to make it a great business in a very niche community.
Yeah,
Um
yeah.
when I think about it, I think about it as like where would the automotive business be, without Ford or GM or whatever.
Yeah.
But it wasn't too long ago that electric cars and an entire, change of the infrastructure was knocking at the door. And, it's not like those auto companies had to be like run out of business or anything like that. They just kind of expanded with the evolution of everything, and
Yeah.
some electric versions, some hybrid versions. Now there's like Chevy trucks and Tesla trucks
And they all went
running on
bankrupt.
battery.
All of them is filed for bankruptcy. I think Tesla and maybe Ford were the only two that didn't, but
You're
that's
you're not
probably not even the case anymore.
Right.
So I mean, and then
well,
there's regulations. It's
The
regulated,
industry. Yeah, it just had to catch up and everything. I think it'll
or
be
it's
a
stuck
lot more of
now.
a soft changeover though in arm wrestling because I don't think promoters that have been around for a long time are going to have to change much. I think it's going to be more positive additives that will be added because it's really just exposure
Yeah,
um,
and the
and
bottom line
accessibility
is
added to it.
it's it's getting bigger. It's
Mhm.
becoming more accessible. Um, you know, people, you have a practice, it gets bigger, and then maybe have a few super matches at that practice. The results of that goes to the Aries thing. You know what I mean? It's starting, and there's no money being exchanged, and there's an evolution to it.
Right, right. Yeah, I really like what Bill's been doing, because he still runs amazing tournaments and everything. But in terms of anything like slightly changing with the sport, um, that we see super matches, they seem to attract the general public a lot. And
Um,
so Bill still runs these great tournaments, but he has some badass super matches, before the tournaments. And he did the team thing. Was it last August, I think it was, where it got to be like team versus team. Yeah, little additives, like they don't really have to change anything, but they do speak to more of the current general audience more to incorporate some of those things, I think.
and I gotta tell you
yeah,
this, like after throwing a tournament, the
Yeah.
Chris Kringle, I mean, it's a lot of work behind the scenes. People don't realize it. Um, and our tournament wasn't as big as some of these other people's tournaments, and I've talked with people out of state, and um, I've been talking about like a massive tournament. Kane, I've talked to you about this before.
Hmm.
But my dream tournament is like my dream would be like $100 to $150 buy-in per arm, and max it out at 150 people per division. But each division we would pay out $25,000 per division, and then the winner of that division would face the division above, and then let's say super heavyweights would face heavyweights, middleweights would face middle heavyweights, whatever the case is, right? But at the end, obviously, you have your overalls, and then the overall winner would get like another $30,000 and like a car, like the over the top tournament style, right? So you would have over $200,000 plus in payouts plus a car. I mean, something like that. I don't see why people wouldn't be like, look at. I know I'd get my ass kicked in that tournament, but just the experience and like to say I was a part of something like that would be amazing, right? Like I've talked to
what do you
people out
mean?
of state.
You did $200,000 in payouts?
Weapon?
How much money in payouts?
It'd be over 200,000 in
Where's
payouts.
that money come from?
It's a $150 buy-in, and each division would be maxed out at 150 people. Okay. There's about seven
Mhm.
divisions. If you do the math, seven divisions times 150 people, 150 times seven, that's 1,050 times 150.
So like
That's
150 per weight class, you're saying?
$150 per week
So
per
what?
week.
So what? Would you collect all this money first and then have the tournament?
You would have to try to collect that, at least a majority of that money, right?
Yeah.
Because to create a tournament like this, it would have to be guarantees. You would have to have guarantees in place.
I
You can't
think
be like,
that's
oh,
something you'd have to build up to that, like almost like compound interest. You have one tournament and you have a net profit of maybe like $300-400, and then you just keep compounding that tournament after tournament until you can create, a high money tournament. So the difficulty with promoting is, you know, it's a money game. it's all about numbers. You know, it's just a compound interest. Like, you know, you could have a tournament and everyone has $35 and you put it, you know, you put it everything together and, you know, you want to try and take care of everyone. Like, are you going to have trophies? You have to pay for that. You know, sometimes you have to pay for the event that you're at. Similar to what Denise was saying with liability and stuff. I mean, you know, you're going to have to pay for insurance, and there's a lot of things that cost money before you can even give it to the athlete. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I was talking with one of the guys out of state, and he's throwing, you know, some of the biggest tournaments in the country, and I was just shooting the idea, like I was like, is this even possible? And he says he believes it's possible, especially because he throws, you know, some of the biggest tournaments. You know, Kane, you're
I
going to
think
one of these.
you need a sponsorship.
Right.
I think that's the best route to that.
Yeah,
even
Lorraine.
even then, I think that's such a huge ask. Like, look at what Engen is doing with East versus West, right? And what size venue do you need for over 1,500 people?
10,000.
You know, that's
10,000.
1,500 competitors. So
Yeah.
yeah, so that's what I'm saying is, like, you would have to have a huge venue. How much does that venue cost you? You know, on top of $200,000 in payouts, people are not going to show up from all over the world if they're having to pay their own way. You know, like that's going to be, so not only do they have to pay $150 buy-in, but they're going to have to pay for travel. They're going to have to do all this other stuff, which is why it's so expensive for East versus West, because Engen's having to fly these guys out. Most of these guys would not show up if Engen was not paying their way, you know? So to have 150 guys from all over the world, like, you know, like show up to a venue, to something that big, I think it's a tall order.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
You need investors.
the
and
venue
you-
and the facilitation is definitely, you know, an issue. It's just a cost. You would want to have that secured up front somehow, rather than, you know, than trying to secure buy-ins from I mean, you know, registration fees or whatever too far.
Why don't you reach out to Elon Musk and get him interested? You know, because I think there's a lot of oligarchs and these ultra rich people who just kind of quirky and weird, and they fucking love arm wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, I almost guarantee that some of those guys have been like, hell yeah, dude. I mean, you've seen Larry Will's channel. You know, he's hung out with a couple of those guys. You know what I mean? They love it. They have their own like grip training, like gym, like in their house. You know.
That's how King of the Table got started. You know, was that dude in Dubai was like, well, throw something here. You know, I'll sponsor it. And
Right.
you know, and so you do have things like that. But there are, like you're saying, there are people out there who are willing to sponsor it. But I think when you've got $200,000 in payouts, that's a really big ask. Like, that's a really, really tall order.
Yeah,
Well,
for arm
the
wrestling.
what I think makes it possible that Travis is bringing up is and Larray, who he's talking about, Larray Jenkins, has proven that it can be possible. Is that if you do have that transparency to, you know, with a high priced registration cost, that all, if not a good amount of that, goes into payouts, that attracts a lot more you know, talent to compete, people that want to be a part of something that has that kind of level, because, you know, money and payouts are going to draw out that level. And I believe it's for that reason that when Larray put out his invitational, or this last December, for this coming, you know, a year in advance, why he already filled up 32-man brackets. It seemed like practically within a month. You know, he had all of those weight classes filled at $100 per registration. I think at least 9-10 months before the event.
He has a big waiting list too.
So
So
that right there is demand, and it shows the proof in the pudding of how many people will sign up at a high price registration if they
Yeah.
know that there's
I'm
pay.
all for pre-registration. Paying and signing on the day, that is just archaic. You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it is not difficult to have an online client management software where you can use that to have the sign the agreements and pay. I mean, imagine like, oh, I'm going to have an event in 3 months, right? You don't even have a venue, all right? But 2 or 3 weeks in, you already have half the entries
Right.
in income. You know what I mean? And
It
then
helps.
people do it all the time. It's just basic business where you're like, oh, you sell T-shirts. You don't even have a single shirt, but you've already sold 40 shirts. You know what
Right.
I mean? And then you go and you take that money and you make the fucking shirts. You know what I mean? Like I think it should be a pre-registration.
I agree.
Non-refundable too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Non-refundable.
definitely.
It's
I mean,
I think it's
for
a little
sure.
more ensuring and attractive for a lot of the athletes to see that facilitation being advertised in advance. It helps. It could be done that way. I just don't think. Okay, so what you're talking about, Travis, now when we're talking like 200 grand in payouts,
Yeah.
it's something to that level. Yeah, I think you're gonna want something up front. Maybe get what are those called? Not the short-term note, but like a 6-7 month loan or something like that, or unless you've got investors with a capital to actually get a decent venue and everything like that.
We could get the $150. Everyone gets a shirt. You know what I mean? When you buy in, you buy into it, you get your shirt, you get whatever else. You don't have any of the shirts yet. You don't have anything, right? When that money comes in, you use that money, to get all those things. And yeah, I mean, because there's no other way to get that money.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just
I think.
like Elon Musk, just to put it back to him. He put this $100 reservation for a car that didn't even exist. They got on this waiting list. They didn't have the car, and
Oh,
then he used that money. He's like, look how many people registered for this car, and he went and got a loan to make the car because the bank wouldn't just give him whatever $1 billion that he needed. He went like, look, I have like 100,000 people who want to buy this car. They've already registered and they put their down payment, their $100, and he used that as equity to the bank to get the loan. I
interesting.
mean, you could do the same thing with that if you get enough registrations or whatever, and you can like, look, all these people are going to come. You're going to get your money back.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I mean, at the end of the day, the whole aspect is to secure a venue. If you can find a big hotel, let's just throwing stuff out there like an MGM or something like that, right? And say MGM is gonna give away a car because they know that you're gonna stay at their hotel. They know that you're gonna waste your money gambling at their casino. They know that if they have an extra 2,000 people this weekend, they're gonna make an extra $500,000 off these airheads. So at the end of the day, like they don't care to
I'm
give
not
you
going to your event anymore, Travis.
airhead, right? Freaking airhead, right? No, but what I'm saying is I'm not, name calling or nothing, but what I'm saying is like they know that, hey, we'll give you guys 100,000 a car and whatever, 20 rooms to your people because we know that you guys are gonna spend your money here. And that's what you need to find. I mean, the other money, I mean, one, you can charge for entry fees on a venue like that. Let's say 10,000 people are
Yeah.
coming in and the casino's advertising your event, obviously. $20 to enter, you have 10,000 people entering. That's another $200,000 right there. That's just for one day, and let's say we get a pay-per-view. Well, guess what? We sell another 10,000 pay-per-views at $20 a pop. That's another 200,000. Now we have the entry fees of 300,000 in entry fees. 200,000 at the gate, 200,000 on pay-per-view. We're up to $700,000. I mean, those are just rough numbers. That doesn't include merchandise or selling cards or stuff like that, like Ingen does, posters and all that other stuff. You can get close to $1 million plus, probably. I'm guessing. not including any sponsors. I haven't even mentioned if you could get sponsors, right? So if you
Yeah.
can physically get sponsors, which if it does get that big, you're gonna get sponsors that are gonna give you 50 or $100,000 probably. So I don't know. Like I said, we're talking to Larray. I mean, I definitely think something like that's possible, and I think it's the possibility of it happening in the next 3 years. I think it's very, very
Well,
likely, to be
it
honest.
has to be it has to be sustainable, right? So the all that money can't just come from entries.
No, no.
There has to be a sustainable, and there's I'm not a money guy. I hate money. It is interesting, but I'm not like I'm never going to be the guy doing all these things to try and make money. But these companies, like, they see those ads where you buy a t-shirt from them and then you're entered to win the Lamborghini with the $60,000 cash with it, because to pay the taxes and all that.
I've done that.
Those sweepstakes people make so much money from selling t-shirts and flashlights for entry, because the stuff's cool. I mean, it's pretty cool. They make so much money from doing that the car and the cash is absolutely nothing.
It's
Right.
nothing. Yeah.
It's nothing.
Yeah, they make a
You
ton.
know what I mean? And I remember one of the guys, he broke it down. He's like, we make so much money from, because it's fake, you're giving away a car. We make so much money from selling these things and the entries that this is nothing. You know what I mean? Like, we could just keep the money and just sell stuff online. Like, we want to give stuff away. It's cool.
It is. It's very cool. And you know what? It's funny that you mentioned that, because my cousin won a Lamborghini. He spent $400. He bought $400 in merchandise. My cousin lives in Highland. My cousin's rich. He married an Indian lady. So he married into the Indian reservation. So they get a ton of money.
Native American or Asian Indian?
Native American.
Yeah. Who spent it first? Yeah.
You're gonna get canceled, bro.
Yeah.
I thought strike two. You had one earlier too, I think.
Hey, he gets so much money, man. It's ridiculous. I think each person, he gets 100,000 a month. She gets like 100,000 a month, and I think the kids get like crazy amount of money. I'm like, you didn't need the Lamborghini. Like, he could have bought the Lamborghini already. But I'm just like, he spent $450. He told me he spent $450, and he gets this Lamborghini Huracan, an orange and black Lamborghini Huracan. I'm just like, you already had everything under the sun, and now you got to, just add that to.
I think you found your sponsor, Travis.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, you'll pay him back. You'll pay him back with interest.
If you're gonna get a sponsor, they're gonna want to see some, like they have to have some sort of benefit from it. Like they're gonna have to
get interest on it. Sell those entries.
Yeah, they got to get money, but that's like what you're saying, like you can't rely on just the entries, because then there's
but you could use that as equity to get the investment.
Yeah, but where, like, if you're giving out 200 grand in payouts, paying for a venue is going to cost money. There are other logistics. How many tables are you running, and how many referees do you need for?
I thought about check it out. I thought about all this.
Per weight class, how are you going to go through that many people? Like, you're going to need so many tables and so many referees, right? And you got to pay those referees, and like you're saying, and then you've got medals or trophies or whatever else it is, t-shirts that you have to make. I
don't want any trophies.
Yeah, all those little things add up. Because I helped one of the guys throw a tournament, and like, we had to front a lot of money, even with prepays. We got a lot of prepays. We probably had 30 to 40% people like prepay, right? But it still cost us thousands of dollars up front. It's
a lot. It's a lot, man. I mean, especially what we did, like the Chris Kringle, right, Crispin? Like, it's a penny compared to anything. Like, it was super small, but it's like it took hours and hours to run, right? Like you said, a tournament of this magnitude, you have to have it perfectly structured. I've thought about it for hours on end. You need at least 12 refs and you need the best of the best. So you have to spend money on those refs, right? Because you want to promote these refs, say, hey, we have these elite refs, of course. And you have to make sure you get the top 10 elite guys to this event, because then that's people are going to come to your event. You get the top 10 elite guys, right? You have to have at least 8 to 10 tables running at a time to get this thing going. And you have to have each division going every 3 hours. So you have to be done with, let's say, like a 154 or 165. You have to be done with that division, and you have to have that winner solidified 150 people in under 3 hours. That's the task at hand. But it's possible probably with 8 tables, right? Like,
So you're looking at a minimum of 16 referees. If you've got 2 refs per table.
my bad. I was thinking, yeah, 16
Might
refs.
be a
You've got
3-day
tables.
ordeal or something in our
Yeah.
wrestling festival.
Yeah, and you
Guys,
Mhm.
hold on a second. I gotta go, but before I go, I want to show you my new toy. Okay,
Okay. What kind of toy are we talking about?
I
let me
don't
turn the
trust.
camera. Never trust me, but check it out.
Nice.
Is that a snowblower? Is that a weed whacker?
No, dude, it's a badass string trimmer. Look at this thing.
It's electric.
Yeah,
Oh, it is
Nice.
a weed whacker. Yeah.
look at that, and it takes 2 batteries. If you can do 1 or 2, and then watch this. You ready? Look at that slow close.
Oh, you got like the Ferrari of weed
Oh yeah,
whackers.
dude,
Yeah.
it's
Damn,
badass.
your weeds are growing like that, eh, Daddy?
Yeah, it's bad. Bad, bro. All right, guys.
They call that the daddy whacker.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks
it's
for coming on,
ridiculous.
man.
All right, guys. Have a good one. It's getting past my bedtime almost. See you later.
Yeah, his weeds are gonna grow just so that they can get whacked by that Ferrari. But no, I think all that is possible. Um Obviously, end goal, I think what a lot of us would like to see is there to be enough demand in the sport for sponsors and just pay-per-view to be the main source of income for it. Maybe, so pros don't even have to pay. It's not so dependent on registration fees and the athletes and everything. That would be great. But like it's kind of happening, the pay-per-views, when did those even start? I mean, I feel like they kind of started right before King of the Table or East versus West, like on a small scale. But it's working enough that King of the Table like keeps running these like multiple times a year. Same with East versus West.
Now you got up.
And that plays, Knuckles Up, and that plays into what you're talking about, Crispin, is, for sponsors to start getting involved, they need to see a business plan. They need to see numbers that have been coming in. And I think it's those pay-per-views. That's kind of the secret to the sauce that we have right now, because no matter how we spin it, whether you're looking for a venue that thinks that they can make money off of just, attendance, and so you're not paying much, if anything, to run something there. We could do all kinds of creative things to make it happen, but yeah, there has to be a business model and money in place. So it's kind of like the community has to make those sacrifices in some shape or form. But I mean, would you agree the pay-per-views seems to be the nice little, I don't even know why it wasn't done sooner. It's a combat sport, and that's how all the combat sports make money.
It's taken time to build to where it is. If you look at what Engen made off of, because he's kind of the guy when it comes to like East versus West really being the big, kind of like pay-per-view, the first one to kind of put things on the map, then King of the Table, then Knuckles Up, then, AWE, and all these other things are now kind of piggybacking off of that. He ate a lot of it at the beginning. He was putting a lot of his own money, tens of thousands of dollars, into it to get it to where it is now. You
Right.
know, he was kind of the original sponsor. Now they have ads. Now they've got other sponsors,
Yeah.
things like that. That you can, yeah, you can do that. And I think if you put on a big enough promotion, like you do have these, you know, crazy super matches that people want to see, then yeah, you know, like you can start to build that draw. But the other thing that I also look at is I feel like a lot of people really paid for those pay-per-views, and now you're getting things like viewing parties. How many of us showed up to, you know, like one guy paid the $20 for the pay-per-view and 30 other guys watched, you know, with that's, you know, and that's $600 that, you know, is now not going towards the pay-per-view. And they only got 20 when you got all these arm wrestlers, you know, look at like watching from the same thing or going, I'll watch the replay, I'll hear it from someone else. And you do have, you know, very few people I think are on top of it like Engen is when it comes down to someone streaming your pay-per-view. You know, what if someone else is streaming it and people just want to watch off of that? It's hard, you know. Engen's had to sue a lot of people and go after all these guys and take it down on, you know, on YouTube and things like that. And that's not fun. I'm sure he doesn't enjoy doing that,
Yeah.
but to make back the money that he is, you know, and those are all things that again, it takes money, it takes time, it takes people to make sure that that happens. You know, you've got people that are filming, that are making sure that the mics work, that the sound is on, that you're going to the right camera at the right time. All these things cost money. They take manpower. They take, you know, really getting into it. And so I think those are a lot of the logistics. You know, how are you going to run brackets? Who's running your brackets with 150 people per, you know, like per weight class? Man, you're going to need more than two people running brackets, you know, like, and you're going to have a really good system that can allow for brackets of 150 guys, you know. So there's so much organizationally that goes into these things, and it's, I think it's been probably the past, you know, 5 6 7 East versus West where they've really dialed it in. But those first ones, man, it was a bit of a shit show. You know, like the sound would go out, we'd lose, you know, the feed. We like
It
they
was during COVID. There was like nobody in the room.
yeah, you know, just there was so much stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
but you are seeing, you know, like arm wars and people paying for more of this stuff, whether that's through a live, you know, like YouTube, hey, subscribe, you know, and now you've got people subscribing to your YouTube channel to watch your you know, like your live feed. Or if it's a pay-per-view, you know, like East versus West, King of the Table, you know, there are just different ways to go about it. And so I'm not saying it's impossible, but I think there's just so much that goes into it, something of that magnitude, that it would be extremely difficult. And the other thing that I think is kind of tough is that it seems like the community is leaning more towards super matches rather than tournament style polling. There's far more interest in just watching two big names go at it than watching them go through brackets of people, you know, and working their way up. And then you also have to look at it like, if you've got 150 guys in a weight class, how many matches do you have to pull to be number one? You know, do you have to pull 50 matches in a day just
That's
to,
why,
man,
yeah, the
a
World
lot.
Series of Arm Wrestling.
Yeah, now it just becomes endurance at that point. You know, who's aren't, you know, how many torn tendons and ligaments and muscles and broken arms are you going to have when you're pulling 50 times in a day? You know, like I think those are all the logistics that you have to go through and think through, you know, when it comes down to this sort of stuff. And it's not some small undertaking, and it's not just, well, we could, if we could get $150 per person, we can make this happen. Nah, there's a lot more that goes
Yeah.
into that. Because if I was a competitor, I don't want to pull, even if I was one of the top tech guys in the world, I don't want to pull 50 times in a day against the other 100 top guys in the world. No, 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 no. You
Yeah,
know,
qualifiers like the World Series of Arm Wrestling. That's why it makes sense. Or any of the world championships or national championships, there's those qualifiers to lead up to it, which can all be, done. Some of them do them different than others, but yeah, you can just go out and compete with your local area with those people and that level of competition. And if you make the cut, now you're at a reasonable number with just the elite polling. It wasn't too gnarly at all in San Diego when they did their finals. I think that tournaments are going to they have that. I feel like they have that place for the athletes and the niche community itself. It's like it it's kind of the epitome of competition, a bunch of people in one room competing to whittle it down to one in your weight class and then in overall. So it has its place, but I completely agree with you, Crispin. And Andre in the chat also says tournaments don't work if you want to get sponsors. Nobody watches when they don't know the competitors. And yeah, just in general, you're pretty much throwing pay-per-view out the window. You're throwing sponsorships out the window. Any possibility of attendance fees or anything like that, all of those things are out the window because tournaments are primarily for the arm wrestlers. That's how I feel about it. But if we're talking spectators and all the money that comes with spectatorship, yeah, you're talking more of a super match format and some bells and whistles and frills and yeah, I mean, I honestly between King of the Table and East versus West for the type of format that is going to bring in the most arm wrestlers and build our sport, I'd say it's King of the Table. Obviously East versus West is amazing and it's important because now we're talking like the top people, seeing what's what. But when King of the Table is showing the spectators and all of them what they want to see.
Yeah, I mean, so let's say there is let's say we throw an event with super matches, right?
Mhm.
We can get spectators, obviously, like King of the Table, they have a good amount of people, obviously, that show. But what do you charge your spectators to be up close and personal like that? Let's say you could get 1,000 spectators. What do you charge them? 50 or $100 a pop to have, you know, seats right there? I mean, I don't, what would you charge them for something like that? Because obviously you're going to make money off pay-per-views, but it's like to get these athletes like a Devin Larratt, he's going to cost you probably $10,000, you
At
know.
this point in time, it's my opinion that charging live spectators, like in a facility of an event, super match or not, um, we're not ready for it. Well, like we shouldn't do it. Yeah, I feel like that's the last stop. After it's normal for sponsors and successful pay-per-views to be taking place and everything like that. Once there's enough demand where the general public is like, yeah, I would go pay to be a part of that. I feel like it's like getting there maybe for established promotions like King of the Table and East versus West. I think there's people that are paying to like be there and watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely like the last stop. Like, the sponsors want to see that the business model and the money is in place, that things are happening. And then the spectators want to see that, it's not like they're directly looking for the sponsors to be involved in everything like that. But, because of them, the production is intact and being blown up for them.
Like you said, the hardest part is to get it going, to get it
Right.
going because you don't have no funding. Sponsors won't sponsor if they don't see a track record, and then you can't get attendance if you don't get sponsors, and then you can't get pay-per-views if you don't get high-level athletes, and you can't sell pay-per-views if you're not promoting it correct. So at the end of the day, like it's such a task. Like if you don't have either those top elite athletes with a great sponsorship behind it. You gotta have at least 30 to 50,000 of great sponsorship money behind it to make it even happen. Because if you're not charging people for attendance, you got to make it on pay-per-views, and it's like, yeah, I mean, you're gambling on pay-per-views. It's like, what are you gonna sell? 2,000 pay-per-views? at $20 a pop. I don't even know. The big people going to the show have to be promoting it as well.
Right.
So they have to promote it nonstop. And if they're not promoting it because they're the ones that have millions of followers, you know, if they don't promote it, you don't make your money. You lose money. You're in the hole. So it's fun to be a promoter if you have the help behind it. So
Well, one interesting thing about sponsors, so where we're at with sponsors right now, like they are there in this sport, but it seems to primarily be for products that cater to arm wrestlers. So essentially, the consumers, the potential consumers for those sponsors are arm wrestlers. So it's still falling back to the arm wrestling community to you know, to be their demand as well. I think it's once those sponsorships start revealing themselves in more of a generalized fashion, like Nike, you know, like Gatorade, you know, the crossover products that are just about like, you know, sports and like inspiration or, you know, this sports network or like, you know what I mean? Stuff like that that more
Interrupt. I
covers
gotta
it.
bounce.
All right, good to see you, Crispin.
Yep. Have a good one, guys. Try and make it on another time.
Cool, man.
Have me. Have a good night, guys.
Yep. Yeah, just if it was something a little bit more broad, I think that's a lot more convincing for sponsors to go in for more money and, you know, to be more attracted to arm wrestling events, because they can be promoting to more of a broad audience, you know, and consumer.
yeah. No, I mean I totally get that. I mean it's you know from a I mean obviously I'm not a big promoter, but from this standpoint, it's like shit. If I had all this money in the world, if I had a few $1 million laying around, I'd be like hell, I'm gonna throw this big ass tournament. You know, I mean it is. You know, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm gonna do it like you know what's his name said. You know, oh like you're trying to buy a T-shirt, you're getting it on this T-shirt. You don't even really want the T-shirt. You want the car that you're getting in for. Look, I'm not even saying you need like all these super high level athletes. You just got to know how to do Facebook ads. If you know how to do Facebook ads, you can make this cool looking ad, be like $200,000 in grand prizes, and then promote it on Facebook as like this giant ad of giving out do you think you're the strongest person out there in your weight division? And promote it to the truckers and the bodybuilders. Bodybuilders have egos and truckers just think they're strong, right? Obviously, over the top situation, but it's like truckers are continuously on their phones scrolling, watching stuff like this. And then bodybuilders just think they're strong and they're going to go to an event like this. So I'm not even saying we would get the most elite athletes. It would be the most 150 in each division because I don't think that many people would travel. I think if we got a ton of sponsorship, I would be like, oh, let's pay for like the top 25 athletes in the country or in the United States because we want it to grow in the United States, right? Um, but I think the average Joe would get in this tournament more than not, to be honest with you. Like if it's promoted correctly as an ad, as an ad on Facebook, because these ads that people run sometimes, like they take off. Like I run ads. The reason why I say that is because I run ads for Christmas lights. Um, and just a little info, right? So my first year in Christmas light business that I've been doing, um, by getting Christmas light business myself, I got 15 jobs just by promoting it on Facebook. But I didn't start getting my biggest clients until I paid somebody to do my Christmas light ads. I got a $10,000 client for Christmas lights because I ran a professional Facebook ad. And that year I spent $4,000 on ads, and the return for my ad spend, I spent 4 grand, but I made 38,000 just by those ads, not including what I did for my own promotion side. So that was in a month and a half, which was amazing. I felt, you know, um, But that, I mean, Facebook ads are great if you know what you're doing. I don't know what I'm doing. I pay people to do that stuff. Maybe I'll learn it one day. But I'm just saying, like, if you're trying to promote like a big event like that and you're trying to get like a lot of people interested in something like that, then you promote that, not just in your area, you promote it the entire United States. And then maybe you add in like a Kazakhstan or Georgia or whatever, because you could do that on like Facebook ads, I believe. I'm not a professional. I just know from experience. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting how much people it reaches for sure. But I don't know if you've ever ran like Facebook ads for your personal business, but
I might have years ago with music stuff, but yeah, I haven't in a while. But yeah, they seem to be really popular a lot, especially with like supplements and stuff like that. I don't see enough things that seem like ads for events. So I would be curious about that. I see a lot of ads for products. But yeah, I'd be into it. Honestly, like, yeah, the long and the short of it, I've just been blown away with how spoiled we are right now. Like all these things, that we're talking about, they are kind of like coming to fruition. And there's a lot of people that have been taking those sacrifices, to get something of that magnitude started. It's pretty awesome. Ed Bedrosian's in the house. He said earlier regarding tournaments on the same day, I think it's a courtesy thing, kind of like how you schedule your live arm wrestling show on a different day to not overlap. 100%. And I think what we were talking about earlier was more just fundamentally, it's a good problem to have too many, events. If we're complaining about too many events in general, that's a problem, because too many events is not a problem. But yeah, the coordination of them, of course, is important. We all want it. We're not a huge community, so I think the biggest thing is just hoping that we can get all of the athletes. We know it takes a lot of time to recover, and we take serious time in prepping for an event and everything. That's the tough part, is when we have so many events, is like the overlap time. It's not about the same day. It's like within the same 2 months can be a problem, you know. There's events that, yeah, I've passed up because like I already have my whole year scheduled. It's done. There might be something small I could fit within it, but each of those things are pretty much spaced out like 3-ish months apart, so that there can be a sensible training program between each one.
yeah, it's funny. It's funny that, you're, oh yeah, I got this all planned out. Obviously Christian has his planned out. Like I'm not as like I like to arm wrestle, but it's like I like to compete, but I haven't got to the point where I'm like, okay, I need to plan out like this and this and this. And it's like I'm definitely not to that level, and I've taken some time off for my health the last probably almost month now. And I'm slowly starting to get back into I just got back in the gym today actually. But yeah, I've just been working on a few things with my body and stuff. So been going over some health stuff. But yeah, I'm like, I just need to get back in it mentally and get back in the gym and stuff like that. But I haven't got to that point where I'm like, man, I gotta plan my year out with arm wrestling, because it's like I love to do it and I love training, but it's like the consistency with work and everything. It's so hard when you got a third baby on the way. You're working, making your money, and it's like everything is so expensive now. And it's like to even find that time to train like I would love to. It's a lot. It's a lot, and then no excuses. A lot of people do it, but yeah, the family demands a lot right now. So it's like it's yeah, it's definitely not easy. So
Yeah.
um,
Yep.
I do see those elite people um that don't really have like a growing family. Like they've already had their family, or they don't have kids, or whatever the case is. Like Devin's kids are grown up. these people from Georgia don't have kids, or they do, or who knows, maybe they, I don't know what they do, but yeah, I don't know. It's trust me, Kane. Kid number one's it's one person could kind of manage, but kid number two, you're like, oh well, I can't do this because I gotta watch the baby. It's like what I mean. So um, yeah, I mean Josh is reluctant because his kids are getting older. It's his kids are getting into the sport, which is great, right? So I mean, when it comes to family, it's like man, juggling both is
Yeah,
it's hard. It's hard sometimes, but. Yeah,
definitely.
you figure it out, and you get your kids into the sport too. My kids aren't old enough to get into the sport yet. Um, yeah, I got to get them a miniature. I get them a miniature table or something.
Yeah, my very first practice with Alpha Empire Arm Wrestling, Jamie Sheldon was there and my wife was with me. We hadn't had Odette, our recent baby yet. But we were, starting to prep, planning to eventually soon have kids. And so Malia, being the responsible, forward thinking person that she is, she asked the team, like we'd all finished practice, we're all just sitting around at this brewery, just like chatting. And she asked that magic question. So, can you make money in arm wrestling though? I think the conversation was on tournaments or something like that. And she could tell like I was into it. I was like, oh, we're doing this. And so she was like, trying to evaluate the worthwhile of putting time into this sport. And yeah, Jamie, yeah, his response to that was I can't remember like word for word what it was, but just to summarize, he explained all the things that, he had done in this sport or achieved or whatever. And he said, and I've only spent money. And I think he put it as like too much money or something like that. And so that was like her cringe moment. And I was like, but for a lot of reasons, yeah, like a lot of us that are gung ho about this sport, it's not very sensible, I guess. You know, Malia gives me crap all the time because, so much of this of my week goes to arm wrestling, but it just makes me work my ass like harder to still try and be a good dad, try and make dinner for my family every night and do things like that. But I also see, and I know you guys see this as well. Um, I I think arm wrestling is going to change a lot. I think there will. I'm not staying in it because I think there will be money in it, but I do know that this sport is growing and that, opportunities, whether you're an athlete or a business person or whatever, I think that there will be things that change in that for opportunity. But
Yeah, I mean, look at I love the sport. I think it's great. I came from baseball. And my girl asked me the other day, "Oh, do you miss baseball?" I said, I just like to compete. I just like to compete. Like, I can't pitch anymore, so like that defeats me from baseball. Could I pitch? Sure. My arm's gonna feel like it's falling off though. Like
yeah,
I've thrown so much in my life. I was really good. I was really good. I was never obviously elite or I'd be a pro. But I was really good back in high school. That doesn't say much, I guess. But I can't say I'm really
have you
good at
tried
arm wrestling.
throwing a ball now? Like since you've been training in arm wrestling, have you tried it?
I've yeah, I've tried it. Like I have to stretch my arm out because if I don't stretch my arm for at least like a few weeks, and it sounds kind of dramatic, but like I was a pitcher for 17 years, so like you can't just like, oh yeah, go try to like throw. Like I could throw still, like I can still go throw a baseball 70 miles an hour right now. Like that's not a problem. But can I throw the 85, 87 miles an hour that I used to throw? No, I can't. Could I get there in like 5 or 6 months of training again? I could, but I have to train for baseball. I'm training for arm wrestling. I'm staying right here. Baseball, I'm fully extended everything's super extended. So I would have to do long toss to strengthen my arm again. You know what I mean? Um, I do feel like my wrist is stronger than it has ever been right now. But um, that being said, that might help my hitting. So when I left, I was just playing Sunday League baseball. You know, last time I played was what, year and a half, 2 years ago. 2 games before I quit, I hit a home run.
Nice.
So that season I had like 3 home runs, but it's like I started getting really good at hitting after high school. Like I played like 3 or 4 Sunday League seasons and I hit like 12 or 13 home runs.
Nice.
So yeah, I mean my hitting got good, but it's like I was always a good pitcher. But like yeah, my arm got burnt out and it wasn't recovering. Like my arm was not recovering for like 2 or 3 weeks. And it was bad. And like I was in pain for like 4 or 5 days after I was pitching. Like it just wasn't worth it. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done pitching. So, I mean, at the end of the day, like arm wrestling, like you're sore for like a day or two. Have you noticed though? I don't know if you've ever done this. Like, if you had a really, really like hard arm wrestling day and your arm is just absolutely shot, and you go to try to do like curls the next day, and your arms just are giving out. Like, I noticed I tried to do like that like the same day or the day after, and I'm like, it just hurts so bad, and I'm like, this sucks. So like you got a great workout at that point, but arm wrestling's different, man. I love to compete, like I said, but I love like the Chris Kringle pull thing. It's like I love to not even really be a promoter. I just like to bring people together.
Mm.
That's just what I like to do. Like the whole snow thing, like the charitable thing, like that's just my passion. I just love to do that stuff. So I don't know. Like I love that more than like physically arm wrestling. I like to watch arm wrestling. I like to compete too, but like I like to bring people together. Like I just think it's fun. I like to see people happy, like at the same venue, you know, because you don't see that often. Like people walk by each other, they don't say hi, they're not friendly, but like you bring everybody together under the same atmosphere for the same reasons. It feels so good. And it's like that's why I do the Christmas lights on my parents' house. It's like, and then obviously everybody else's house because it brings the joy. And it's like, I know I'm bringing the people together. I'm like, that's my purpose. That's my purpose in life is to bring people together. So it's completely off the arm wrestling topic, but that's my purpose in life.
Yeah.
Um,
We need more arm
so,
wrestlers brought together. Yeah.
yeah. I think it's great. I think it's fun. So, I mean, I definitely want to do more arm wrestling events. Um, they're not cheap though, for sure. They're not cheap. So, yeah, I mean, just I think our event, I think everything cost us for that event about 3 grand.
Yeah. Yeah. At the end
So,
of the
so at the end of the day, I made $100,
day.
maybe. And honestly, I probably lost a few thousand, like if I actually calculated it, like with the event and everything. But it's like it was fun, man. I mean, all of it was fun. So I don't ever be like, oh, I lost this. No, it was a good experience. It was fun, you know. I do want to do a tournament. I want to name it. I want to name it the pumpkin pool.
Yeah.
Like I'm all about like just creativity. The pumpkin pool. I'm thinking about something like that. Like, and then for like the parents, they'll bring their kids and I'll have a bunch of pumpkins there for the kids and stuff to carve. So that would be cool. That would probably be like a few weeks before Halloween, maybe. Chris Kringle pool. I don't know if we're gonna do the Chris Kringle pool. I have like a Christmas display kind of like set up. So I know people are gonna be like traveling for Laray's thing too. That's in December, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So people are traveling for that.
I think it's
Um,
like the first week of December. So, I mean, it is possible that you could do something festive that actually is. I know you did the first week last time, but
Yeah.
you could do it, you know, like after Christmas or right during or before, you know, towards the end of the month or, you know.
Yeah, I want to do it the same night as our Christmas light contest because we had a massive turnout the weekend after that for our Christmas light contest for the community. Like there was a ton of people. And then we had the Canes there as well because they forgot to come to the arm wrestling event. So I had the Canes there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Raising Canes. So that was a big turnout too. So yeah, I mean, I think the night of the Christmas light contest, and then we typically do raffles too. Like we raffle off like TVs. The year before this last year, it was a TV. It was a PS4 or PS5, whatever station it's on. PS5, PS5, right? Yeah, PS5. Um, and then we had like a Nintendo, the new Nintendo, and all that stuff. So that was really cool. So yeah, I mean, I think I'm gonna be doing like maybe we'll set up like a tournament like a small like tournament at the beach or something this summer, like the beach pool or something like that. That'd be really fun, like a bonfire type thing. Um, like
You
do
could
it at
call
like
it the tide pool.
the tide pool. That'd be really cool. Yeah. So then have like water trophies or something like that. That'd be really neat. And then
Yeah.
just buy pizza for everybody and stuff like that. You know, just you know, different stuff. And we know that we're not gonna have 200-300 people go to that tournament, obviously, but like we'll get like 50 to 120 people probably like go to something like that. You know, they'll bring their family, need to hang out at the beach.
Yeah, everything about an event at the beach is right, you know. It would attract so many spectators and new people because they're all there to hang out and have fun anyways, you know,
Exactly.
like the strength stuff happening. But I am curious, I don't know, like have we talked about this before, but like would you need a permit to actually do it at the beach? I know there's certain things about parties, like when you're having a party at a public beach, only certain things are permitted. It might, oh, it was for a wedding. I went to a wedding at the beach recently, and I think once you exceed a certain amount of chairs and tables or something like that, you need a permit or it's just like not allowed or something. But I think that's the only main stipulation. I wonder if you did just come with 4 arm wrestling tables, post them up in the sand near the boardwalk or something like that, make everyone, you know, stand or bring their own beach chairs or whatever, to where you're not setting up event chairs. If you'd have a free event, a free venue and some, you know what I mean?
I think it would be pretty cool. And hey, I mean, we'll do free raffle giveaways where you can win a pier fishing pole and something. You know what I mean?
There you go. There you go.
So
The way
I
that
don't know.
the way that you do that is by not so you got to eliminate the tournament, right? Because the minute that you start charging people and everything, that's where the liabilities and all that and the insurance comes in. But as long as it's just a get together, a big get together, it's no different than us going out to play volleyball or whatever else. It's us
Yeah.
doing our own leisure activity on our own leisure time, all for fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be great. I think we definitely should set something like that up. I think it would be a really good and good turnout, you know. But yeah, just different ideas, you know. So yeah, at the end of the day, I mean, it's all about just having a good time with our families, growing the sport. So
Yeah, we should
Yeah, I
do
tend
like an
to
arm
think
wrestling.
that the what?
We should just do an arm wrestling hangout and actually like promote it. I've seen,
Yeah, yeah, I think
yeah, I've seen the like, you know, the Alan Fisher arm wrestle, like, you know, this, what do they call it? Arm wrestle a grandpa, or was that Derek dressed up like a grandpa? I don't know. They did those isolated productions. I saw Gabe Young did it. Um,
Alan Fisher did that. Yeah.
Alan Fisher did one. And you know, it's so the few people that knew that that was gonna happen, I guess, was there, and it was mostly just spectators rolling in. But if we actually did promote a hangout at, you know, yeah, what is it called? lifeguard tower this, or,
Yeah.
whatever location at what beach, I bet a shitload of people would show up. And that alone would attract a lot of people. I know Alpha Empire used to set up tables at like Venice, but yeah, that would be a good spot.
Whatever beach has like a fire pit, so we can actually like be there from like
To the evening. Yeah.
evening, like afternoon, evening, until like the night until they kick us out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like I think that would be like, okay, you have pizza during the day and then you have s'mores at night. Like that's super badass. Like,
Yep.
so like when it comes down to it, like all the families would be bringing their kids, to something like this. One, you have a great time arm wrestling with your buddies. Two, you're tiring these kids out. So it's a win-win. It really is. And I'll talk to Christian about that, and we'll talk more about that, I'm sure. And I'm sure in the next few months we'll be doing it. So
Why not?
yeah, it's super simple. Just throw your table in the car and set it up at the beach.
Yeah. Yeah, I know Alpha Empire will be doing more practices up here at the lake. Up on the mountain. We did that just at the tail end. What, it might have been fall, but either way, it was still warm and everyone seemed to enjoy it. We did it at the lowest spot in the mountain crest line. So like for example, from our team practice down at the base of the mountain, it's only like maybe a 20-minute drive.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I know that that was a hit. I definitely think we should do a beach thing. Robert Terry and Tara Terry were too sick to come on, but Robert is messaging me saying preach Travis, preach. And he also says that sponsorship is a tax write-off. And he's definitely an advocate for pre-registrations for tournaments and offering that discount for people that pre-register. It definitely kind of secures money off the top to get an event going. But
Absolutely.
yeah, we got
Yeah.
Benjimac in the house saying hit that like button. Thumbs up, everybody. And Andre says, you can't afford the superstars of our sport. You have to create new stars. Like Igor said, you can make a new star every day. Look at Zauer before he competed East versus West. Everybody said he was number 2.
Yeah,
What
that's true. I mean, you could definitely create stars. Um, and there's people out there, and it's not even just in the arm wrestling community. There's people that if you can somehow get in contact with them, whether they're TikTok stars or whether they're YouTube stars, they don't even have to be arm wrestling related. It just has to be somebody that has a big following. That's all it takes. If you because let's be real, like I have 1,000 followers or whatever the heck the case is on Instagram. That doesn't do me any good. Like that's not a star. A star is somebody that already has a decent following. Sure, you can be a great arm wrestler and you could work your way up. It's going to take you a while though, like to actually get noticed and get that following. It's all about social media. So if you can get this, like if you can get The Rock to arm wrestle somebody and he's promoting like let Alpha Empire, for instance. Alpha Empire is going to blow up with thousands of people overnight because The Rock is that big of a star, right? Like that's why these people get paid $1 million plus per post on Instagram because whatever they post, they're getting all these views and all this traction. So it doesn't have to be an arm wrestling star that blows his sport up or whatever. It just has to be a star already. So
Well, it 100% is not arm wrestling elites that are blowing up the sport. It's yeah, it's a proven thing. Most of the people that you see in those top 10 of every weight at East versus West, the general public would have no idea who they are, let alone
yeah,
pronounce a lot of their names. But yeah, the ones that the general public does know, yeah, they're kind of like either full social media stars or they're like, social media stars that also arm wrestle or whatever. But yeah, that's definitely helping the sport 100%. Some people would say that it's not, and I would disagree. Because if you want to see more opportunities to compete, if you want a bigger pool to compete against, if you want more of an organized sport, all these things, it takes money, demand, exposure, all of those things to make that happen, to where you don't feel like, you're alone, or in a small club,
Yeah.
you know.
And I was looking at I was talking to somebody a few months back about like their cycling studio, and they were a very successful they are a very successful cycling studio, and they're expanding to 2 and 3 studios because they're having that much success, right? And I'm like, and that just got my wheels turning. I'm like, oh, I've never thought about like a cycling studio, but oh, let me look into it, right? And I was looking up like different locations. I'm like, okay, well, what's the space rent for like a spot? And I was like, oh, $20 a square foot. And it's like, oh, this place is 1,500 square feet. I'm like, all right, well, that seems like it's pretty expensive, I guess. But I don't know. Space rent was anywhere from like $3,000 to $5,000 a month for like a decent spot, right?
Yeah.
And I found this place in like Ontario. It was like 2 levels, and it was like 1,700 square feet, and it was pretty big. I'm like, oh my God, downstairs would be a massive cycling studio, but then I could utilize this whole space as like a indoor like tournament scene, like for arm wrestling. And I'm like, I could set up like tournaments like once a month. And I'm like, I don't know. I was like, you just start having like these different visions. I'm like, oh, cycling studio in the mornings, training facility at night. And I'm just like, oh, interesting. Like to grow arm wrestling, people need a foundation. And right now there's really no foundation. Not really like where we're at, I feel, right? Like we've talked about this before. Mendy's, I'm saying that right, Mendy's, right?
Mhm.
Mendy's has their gym, right? I think you have to pay $20 to go work out there or something, or $20 to get in. If you pay $20, I mean that adds up. That it becomes pretty pricey. But
It's
like,
$20 for the monthly membership there.
oh, for okay. So I heard
Yeah,
like,
because it's at a gym, so you're you're paying for your monthly membership. That way, you're not just taking away the gym space, and they're letting arm wrestlers utilize a bunch of the space.
got it. Yeah, somebody sold me $20 every time they go train for some reason. I don't know. That's what I heard. Um, yeah, maybe they're wrong. I don't know. But I'm like that's why I was like, oh, it'd probably get pretty expensive. But and that's what I'm saying. It seems like it seems like they have that foundation, and that's why obviously they're already elite. They're already elite people over there, but they have that foundation in place. They have the gym to go to, and they have this now. It's their group of people is getting pretty big.
Right.
And they're all elite guys. Like I can't say elite because I think of like the world level, but they're all very, very good, right? Um, and then some of those guys were elite or are elite, whatever. But there's a foundation over there, and it's growing, and these people are catching on. But that's what I'm saying. We need another foundation over here or somewhere. Like Christian's practice, this is the last practice at the compound, which was his garage. And then Derek obviously has the practice at his grandma's house or whatever, right? But it's like that's not a foundation. We need like a gym type setting to really get this sport. Like, okay, like, hey, I'm going to my arm wrestling practice at this gym location type of thing, you know? So it's like it's cool to train like in a garage, like sure, like that's a great setup, but it's like once you start getting like that, like the building foundation and like I don't know, like a board, like we've talked about, like a commissioner board of people in charge. Once you get those foundations in place, and then it's like, okay, then we're going to start setting up big events. We're going to start the pay-per-view, and then we're going to start getting those big sponsors and all that stuff. You have to have these steps in place, and it starts with the foundation, right? So we see where we're at. We have a long way to go, but it's definitely possible. I mean, somebody's definitely going to make this somebody's definitely going to make it happen. And the person that's ahead so far is Larray, setting up those big tournaments out there, getting all those elite pullers to obviously go out there, of course, you know. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think about like a foundation? Like, how do you guys look at it like that? You know, do you guys think there needs to be like a club in place, or I don't know? That's just my take.
I feel like we already have all of that. I get what you're saying about like the gym setting and everything, but then you see like Derek and Alpha Empire pushing towards like the dojo style setting,
Yeah,
to where you can really have it to where kids or new athletes come and pay for a class like they would for any sport that they're trying to learn. So
absolutely.
setting it up, much more structured like that, I think is a beautiful thing. But yeah, as far as the foundation, I mean, like for NorCal, we definitely have Mike McGraw's Garage. So like it's been the garage for 30 plus years, and
Mhm.
consistently has put out world champions every couple of years.
Yeah.
And so and then you look at down south, you got Alpha Empire, you got the guys over at Mendy's like you're talking about, and it's a same thing, a very consistent high level product. Alpha Empire, maybe it might seem a little bit different because they have so many members on the team, but then when you look at like the guys who've been around for quite a while, they're all pretty much at a level, where it's an even kill across the board. They are all technicians. They've all been in the sport. They're all very comfortable at the table. They're high level. They bring intensity. So yeah, I feel like we have our foundations. I feel like it takes like little call out challenge matches like we do up here and the SoCal Arm Fest and thing to get everybody together more.
Yeah.
I definitely think that we need
Gloves.
that, because the more hands you touch, it's crazy. But not only because of that, but from a spectator's point of view, the more times that you see a big crowd, it gets your attention. It gets your attention, and it
Yeah.
doesn't just look like a couple guys in a garage messing around. Then
Yeah.
it looks like, wow, what's this big gathering over here? These guys are really serious.
Yeah.
So yeah, I do think we definitely have some foundation, and it's worked. It's worked for a long time. When we're talking about arm wrestling alone and reaching an arm wrestling peak alone, right? We
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
that foundation. Maybe arm wrestlers aren't too versed in spreading themselves because we are kind of a very humble unit of people that's not very egotistical and boisterous.
Of course.
So because of that, you don't have a ton of guys who walk around like, "Hey, I'm a great arm wrestler. Come check it out." You don't have that like
Yeah.
you might in a lot of other areas. But we do support each other. We're consistent with that, and so whenever new people have new ideas or whatever, you see that a lot of people are willing to risk it and go chance and drive, travel, whatever it is to support the thing. So I think that I've been seeing a lot of talk, and I'm new in the sport. I'm a newborn baby. Like I'm a
Yeah.
brand
Yeah.
new, even a couple years, but I still consider myself very new, and I'm learning every single day. But what I do notice is there's a lot of complaining about like money and stuff like that, which hey, it's understandable from a certain level of athlete and this and that. But what I think that a lot of people are not taking into consideration is that the product that sells in this day and age right now is a short intense video or clip of something that gets a lot of attention, whether it be because of controversy or violence or whatever it is, these different things. So you have to pick apart your pieces of this that we want to sell to the main stage. A lot of that needs to set the money on the back burner. We need to think about the long term and not right now. Because the more that we think about right now, we're like, oh, I got to pay this guy $3,000 just to show up or whatever it is because he's a big name. Okay, well, that really kind of takes away from the whole idea of it, right? Because we're trying to grow this thing. So how can you grow it by continuing to just dump the pockets and have to do all this and have to do all that? The more events that we can get together to where the athletes are not having to spend money, right? And they're treating themselves like the entertainment, which they are. This is the only sport where the entertainment has to pay to be the entertainment, or one of them. But the minute that we can get away from that and we start to get these bigger crowds together more and more, that's when you get sponsors and people like that who want to get involved. Like, wow,
Very
look at
well
these
said.
people consistently getting together, right? So
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, let's say we have, let's say we are at the beach, right? And there's 200 of us arm wrestling and having a good time. People are like, what the hell's going on over there, right? But we didn't know that we were going to be next to this guy that's worth $500 million. And he sees it and he's intrigued and he's like, hey, I have this company. Like, this looks pretty interesting. This looks like a tax write-off to me. You know what I mean? Like, you don't know where you're gonna be. You're just in the right place at the right time. And like I said, it's like just keep having these things because eventually you're gonna land in front of that person that enjoys watching it and doesn't care to spend the money. Um, and it's just gonna happen. It's just gonna happen. So, yeah, I mean, they're gonna see how they can try to benefit themselves. But if you're getting a big sponsorship out of it, who cares? You're
Right.
getting that,
right.
you know what I mean? Like, so, I mean, at the end of the day, like, I'm still trying to find that person.
Well, yeah. And
Right.
they
But
will come. They will
it'll
come.
happen without having to try to push it, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing is,
Exactly.
all of those people we're talking about that have bank accounts like that, they didn't get there by just wasting their money or throwing it every
Right.
piece of, every wall hoping something would stick.
Those that
They're methodical
can
in their
invest,
thinking.
it has to
So
be an investment. Yep.
right. So that will happen again once we show that we can consistently pack a fucking house and that we're not like, oh man, only 50 guys showed up today. Why is that? Well, because the payouts weren't so good or the medals aren't that good or I don't like the t-shirts this time or whatever are the different things that we're all worried about, which again, they're all understandable. However, are we worried about pennies or are we worried about dollars? If we're worried about dollars, we have to start thinking about tomorrow and not right now because the little small things that we can do right now are over quick and then it's another one of okay, well, what can we get together for next time? How much is it going to cost for next time? We need to start showing that we will consistently get together and create a product to where a sponsor, an investor, whoever we're talking about is like, okay, this is something I can get involved in. These
Yeah.
people are consistent. These
Well,
people will buy the product, the merchandise. Now it makes sense, right?
right.
If
And
you're not
that's
packing houses and you're not packing, if we're not packing houses and a packed house for us is 300 people, we got a long way to go before we're worried about money.
yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, which a lot of what you were saying that speaks to me so much is the mentality of how we look at this sport right now at this point in time. And I feel like the way it's been running is like a dog eating its own tail, you know. That's kind of how we've been functioning, trying to find a way to make money, trying to find a way to make payouts by charging, the athletes themselves. And it's just this constant thing that's like eating itself. And I feel like if we were more focused on the potential down the road and putting our energy towards investing in ourselves instead, rather than just eating ourselves, then it's going to go a lot further, especially at this exploding time of exposure and interest. So what I mean by that is like there are a lot of business owners that would be happy to let you use their facility to throw an interesting event, especially if super matches are involved or something entertaining like that, because it brings them business. There's ways to do it to where you're not charging anybody to compete. There's ways to, create incentives for it, and not just eat ourselves, but more, plant little seeds that go exactly to what you guys are talking about, more of a future that makes sense for money to exist in larger scale things. But yeah, we don't have to confront it the same way that we always have. If we're gonna just keep spending money on ourselves, like why don't we do it in a way, even if it's just in our time, um, to make it actually be building blocks to a future. rather than like taking a block and crushing it and throwing it away. You know, all
Yeah.
these blocks should add up to something in the future. Benjimac says OC Arms used to do a beach practice. They are good times. Tony would bring the grill and hang out at the beach parking lot. Alpha would come by too sometimes. Yeah, I remember that. When the beach was brought up, I was thinking about you guys. Yeah, I would definitely like to see it in like a Arm Fest type of scale.
Yeah.
And something, you know, not that we've already got Arm Fest. I know Ray Cody wants to do something out towards the Tehachapi or California City area. And I know up north you got the Mike McGraw thing. So the state is already zoned perfectly to be doing these things either monthly or quarterly. It would be bitching to do something at the beach like yearly, or like, you know, maybe like once or twice a year, and let's get everybody there, you know, and promote the crap out of it. Like, let's make it a problem for Venice Beach or wherever we do it. Like, you know, there's like 200 of us that are there, and it's just inevitable for everybody that went to the beach that day to be like, what is going on over there?
That'd be legit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it would be really cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think it'd be a really good time. So
Paul Stevens says, okay, fine. You guys can use my star power to promote a tournament. That's that's all we need. That's all we need.
all we needed.
Just a picture of Paul Stevens flexing.
Kane getting some size over there.
Oh.
But all right, guys, I gotta
need to
hop
get.
off.
Yeah, okay. Thank you for coming, brother.
I gotta hop. I would love to talk another hour. But yeah, kiddo's gonna go to bed. I always say goodnight to her. So I will catch you guys later, and it was definitely a fun one tonight. So I will talk with you guys another day, and we'll continue this beach conversation because I feel like it's gonna be a good time out there. So
Heck yeah.
all right. Well, you guys have a great night.
Good to see you, man.
Later, guys.
Peace.
Bye.
What's the word?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I like all of the top. Sorry I had to be in and out. Sorry I was in and out.
All good.
I had after we did my son's thing, I forgot that my wife wanted to go to the store because this weekend is Benny's baby shower for his first baby.
Oh, nice.
And so we were getting the stuff that she's taking over there. But
When
yeah,
is,
no, everything
when is his baby due?
June 30th.
Oh, exciting times. Exciting times. Cool, man.
Yeah. Yeah,
give
super
him a hello
excited.
for me.
For sure. For sure I will. Yeah, he was asking me, he goes, man, how am I gonna balance having a baby and going to practice and all this stuff? And I said, first thing, don't worry about that. You do everything you gotta do with the baby first, and we'll still be here, you know. But yeah, he's all juiced. So super cool. But no, everything you guys were saying is awesome. There's a lot of good different points and stuff. Yeah, I always tend to, my ears like ring whenever I hear people talking about like the money situation and stuff like that. I think there's so many ways. Well, you know, how I think we've kind of bounced things off each other so much. I think there's so many ways around that where that doesn't have to be the forefront of our thought all the time. I mean, look at what we're doing year number 2. You know, we have some cool stuff for people, and we're not charging people anything, and we have sponsors that came out of the woodworks and said, hey, we want to jump in and help with this thing. And so all it takes is consistency and, you know, have a good vision. And I think one thing that people are starting to realize, at least about you and I and what we're doing, is that we have the community, and that's our first spot in our mind. It's not us. It's not how can we make something, it's how can we make everybody happy. And so it's going to sell itself. The sport is it's growing rapidly, and we're in a great spot. And yeah, we're lucky to have people that are so receptive to a lot of this stuff, and that we can have the constructive criticism, and polish up our own ideas and get better. So I'm excited. Excited for what's to come, and just keep on trucking away at this.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah. There's so many things that like we've talked about, potential events and stuff like that. The way we both see eye to eye with them. I want to share some of these ideas, but in due time we will. We
Right.
This is some good conversation.
We'll have the shows when we're announcing.
Yeah.
Guess what's happening next? Boom.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I
And
think that's
you
the
know
cool
which
thing.
one I'm talking about too.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
cool. And also when yeah, Travis was talking about the foundation of the thing, like a good you know, what gym or location or something. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things in the works with different organizations that are happening.
Are you going to be at the next Arm Fest?
The next Arm Fest, no, because I will be in Mexico. That is next weekend. Yeah. Are you going to go to this one and I won't be there?
Yeah.
Wonderful.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right.
Just come to Mexico, man.
I want to.
Do you have a passport?
Really do. I do. I do. Yeah, I got it renewed. So
you should come, dude. I've put the offer.
Is that the Cinco de Mayo?
It is. It's the 4th, and then yeah, the next day, Sunday, will be Cinco de Mayo. But I'll put the offer out to you right now. I've already put the offer out to my teammates. I know Heraclio's going to be there, and I know one of our new guys, Brandon Romo's going to be there, but nobody took me up on my offer. I have a hotel there from the Friday before, so May 3rd through the Sunday, May 5th. And I booked a room with 2 full-size beds, and I'm only using one of them. Malia and Odette won't be with me. They'll be with family. So if you want to roll, bro, that bed's yours. The hotel room, let's just do this. Yeah. Yeah, like
all right, let me work it out. I think I can do that. I think I would love to do that. So let me work it out and then see if I can get down there like Friday morning.
Okay. Yeah, I really want to be there. I know
Yeah.
Rock won't be there till Saturday. Brandon also might not be. I know the Friday before the event, they're doing all kinds of fun things. I believe it's Greg Brown who's kind of the big promoter on this. And I believe the Friday before from like 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. they're doing like weigh-ins and a meet and greet. But it's going to be really cool because I love that it's bringing these 2 countries together, and those guys are awesome out there, Josh. You're going to love everything about them. Yep.
Yeah, I met a few of them. I met quite a few of them. And then not this last state championship, but the year before, Team Mexico came up, and we got to meet about 10 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're just a handful of bad dudes, and yeah, they definitely are strong for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I've only been on their end of the the country once for a big mega practice. I haven't been for one of the events, but everything that I've been hearing from like my teammates and stuff is really interesting. You would think like, oh, I'm gonna feel out of place. I'm in this other country, right? And they're all rooting for their own people, like you're like the enemy or something like that. But what all of them have told me is like, even when an American or a Californian or an Arizonian like won a match, like they're all cheering, like they're all like hyped for everybody and super. And it made sense because I remember that mega practice, like they were just so hospitable and cordial and cooking for you and all these things. So yeah, like I just kept hearing like the vibe at the events out there are great. Like they're super, super nice to everybody from out here in the States.
Heck yeah. So wait, where is it at? Is it Mexicali?
It is Mexicali, and you've been to the
Okay.
Inland Empire not too long ago. So to give you like perspective, obviously the Inland Empire is a little more inland. And if you're going to Mexico more towards the coast, like the 5 freeway, if I remember correctly, it's been like 20 years, but I think that takes you right into like Tijuana and all that stuff.
Yeah, Mexicali is east.
It's more east. And
Yeah.
from the area I think that you had visited, it would only be like 3.5 hours. So
Oh,
yeah, Mexicali is real close across the border. Not much of a drive across the border, but yeah, it was just a straight shot down. If you end up coming more towards the base of the mountain, or if you even come up to the mountain and just drop your car off, or we could take yours, I don't really care. There's actually a really cool direct route from my mountain to there, rather than going down the typical route down to the base of the mountain and into San Bernardino and Riverside and all that. You actually go up. You go up higher to Big Bear, and then down the back end of the mountain into the desert. So we would pass through
oh
Palm
wow.
Springs, we would pass through the Salton Sea. Really cool, interesting drive. So
That'd be awesome. How long is the drive from your house? What, about 5.5 hours or what?
directly from my house, 3.5.
Oh, that's close. Holy
Yeah,
shit.
easy drive. Yeah.
That's so quick. Okay.
We'd wake up
That's
when we
cool.
want to wake up on the Friday and just head out, or however you want to do it.
Okay. Well, I'll let you know in a day or two.
Right
I think
on.
I should be able to do that. That sounds like too much fun to not do it. So
That would be
yeah,
awesome, man. Hell yeah. Yeah, because
we
like
could
it
get some.
seems like everyone else I know from up here is going that morning of the event. And I've got like my hotel booked for a day before. I'm like, man, am I really driving to Mexico by myself? I mean, it would be cool, but no, man, you're going with me.
Yeah, I would. It'll be so much fun, bro. Are you kidding me? We're going to find the mariachis immediately.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, let's do this.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I'll wrap it up and go say hello to my little ladies. Yeah, say hello to the fam for me, and yeah, just let's be in touch.
Okay, for sure.
All right,
All
man.
right.
Have a good night.